series is called Honor, Celebrate, and Prepare. And the reason why we're starting this series is because on the first Sunday of March, which is 4 weeks away, is Restoration Chapel's 49th birthday. And we're super excited about that. But with that being said, we're going to prepare and get ready to go to that next step and that next level. So this morning is going to be awesome. As you see, we're talking about honor this morning, and I can think of no better way to honor the past or honor what God has done than ask a bishop that we have here in this church to preach. Bishop Ralph James, as many of you know, most of you were here when he was the pastor 6 years ago. He was telling us that he has not really preached a sermon in 6 years. And I asked him about a month or so ago to come and speak, and he's going to come and speak to us this morning. We're super excited about it. We're excited about the word that he's going to bring. And he is my pastor. He's the one that keeps me straight. Amen. He's the one, when I start going crazy, he tells me, okay, Bobby, calm down a little bit. Amen. But we're super excited about him coming. So let's give a hand to Brother James as he comes up.
I feel so unworthy to be able to be here this morning. Thank the Lord's already spoke this morning in a manner we all need. He wants us to know. Thank God for the song that they sing. He loves us. He's telling us He loves us. He's telling us that He's here for us if we would just turn ourselves over to Him. I had a long message prepared, and Brother Bobby spoke Wednesday night. He kind of enhanced that program a little bit. And then in our Sunday school lessons this morning, if you really got into it like we did, we only had a few minutes to get into it, concerned about the Spirit of the Lord, and we felt His presence here already this morning. Hardly not anything to say, really, but just to remind us that He is in control of every situation that we are faced with. He is there if we will call upon His name and believe. I was amazed at our Sunday school lesson this morning that the demonic spirit that was in the man said he recognized Jesus. Amen. I'm afraid sometimes we don't recognize Him in our presence. We're living in a devastating time in our history. We're living in a time that so much is going on. Almost like the Bible talked about in the lesson this morning. A man with a demonic spirit. It seems like the demonic spirit is spreading all over the United States of America. It crushed my heart the other night when I seen on the news a man taking his 3-year-old girl and crushing her in his arms under the anointing of drugs that he was taking. She died in his arms. Now all the ungodliness going on, it's a warning to you and I.
Amen.
He's trying to let us know. He said, you'll know those days. If you go to Luke 21 and 25, it's not in my message. But he said, when you see these things come to pass, look up, your redemption.
Hallelujah.
And I believe He's showing us some things to make us realize that His soon coming is very near. I was astonished as I began to study, and it's a wide variety of stuff. It's that 80% of the church now only run around 100 or less. 80% of all the churches, people aren't going to the house of God anymore.
It's true. It's true.
They have endeavored in the things of this world to the point that they don't have time take one day a week. It said in 2018, 28% of Christians doesn't attend any church. 22% only goes one time a week. What's happening to our worship? What's happening to our churches? People are so in depth into the world that they don't have time. On their jobs is taking them out. Different things is taking them out of church. But Christ looks at us and says, "Where are my people?" I can remember, and if I had to have a message this morning, is we need a revival.
Yes, yes.
Something we don't hear of anymore. Our churches don't have time to take a week out for a revival. Used to be a week revival, then it cut it down to 3 revivals, and now it's no revivals. You don't see any movement day in and day out. Just a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, right down the road from here at Dry Oak Assembly of God, they had a revival for over a month or 2 months, every night. And we can't have one day. I remember in my life, I was asked in our seniors meeting last night, and you that are seniors, you need to be in our seniors meeting. We got Sister Judy is in charge of that, and Sister Marilyn. We have a good time of sitting down and discussing things. We did last night. But I remember when I got saved, and I asked them last night in that group, how many was saved in a revival? And about half of those that were there got saved in a revival. Sister Judy McCall sitting back there. I remember as a young minister in my second church, I was invited to come to their church and preach a revival. I can remember her the night she got saved. She walked out the door, they had to hold her up, her shouting out the door.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Look at her now. She's still here, some 30 years ago. I'm telling you, we need some revivals. I know it's different now. When I got saved in a revival. I got saved because my daughter, Tammy, would come home from the revival that they had for over a month. And she would come in and say, "Daddy, go to church with me." My child won me because she wanted to see her daddy not die and go to eternal punishment. Children can lead
Yes, yes.
just as much as a grown person can.
Amen.
We need a revival like that. We need families coming together and seeking Him and seeking their lives to be changed. Out of that revival at Pelzer came ministers. I know of at least 5 ministers that come out of that revival. I can remember all these other things that come. Leaders in the church, teachers, and leaders in the church came out of that revival. Why isn't it happening today when we look out and we watch the news and we see so much ungodliness?
It's true.
Saw on the news this morning where a boy killed his mother. It's because Satan is doing what God said he was going to do.
That's right.
Satan is taking hold of all the ungodliness that's taking place. And we as children of God, 28% of those that claim to be Christian don't even attend church. 22% only comes once a week. What's happening? We have shut the doors and let Satan take over.
Sure, brother, preach it.
I know we can't be in a revival every night and all day, but we can have a revival spirit.
Amen.
What's happening to mothers and fathers falling on their knees at home and crying out for their children?
Amen.
What's the matter with people that we know that are with us, that we just take it for granted? What is a revival? What does it mean? Number one, it means an act of instant reviving. The state of being revived. Number two, renewed attention to or interested in something. Number three says a new presentation or publication of something old. A period of renewed religious interest. Luke 2:25. And I didn't get these messages down. I've been all wore out paper after paper. Luke 2:25 says, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after which are coming on the earth. Fear always deals with the past. And what's coming, the present doesn't hold any fear. We worry about what has taken place, but we accept what's going to happen in front. We need a revival of prevailing prayer.
Amen.
Not just a little, God is good, God is great, let him thank us for his food, and all these kind of little things. Go to bed, Lord, give me a good night's rest. Let me wake up in the morning and get up in the morning, thank you, Lord, for the sleep last night, we forgot about the day. But in Luke, the 18th chapter and the very first verse, and he spake a parable unto them, to this end, that men ought always to pray and to not faint.
That's right.
Luke in this verse gives us a positive side to a negative truth. If you went to these lights today and you tripped that switch and cut the light off, it cuts the lights off. We don't realize what it takes for that light to come on. If you went behind the wall, you would find a wire running down to the switch to the light. It has 2 wires and 3 wires. It has a positive, it has a negative, then it has a ground. You take either one of them off and the lights won't come on. So the positive side to the problem is that we have to have prayer to have the full thing and he spake a parable. He spake it to the people, or to the people that he was surrounded by, that they must always and not faint. Now, I know you can't go around all day long praying. You can't go around on your job and just pray, pray, pray. You got to concentrate on your job. But we can be in a mind of prayer.
Right.
And he said, if you don't pray, you're going to faint.
That's right. That's true.
It takes prayer to do it. Thessalonians 5 and 17 said, pray without ceasing.
That's right.
Pray without ceasing. It's understood we cannot pray physically. We can't stay on our knees all day long. On our job, we have to do that, but we can be in a mind of prayer. Andre Crouch said, if you don't go down and weep for souls 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to get cold.
That's true, brother. Preach it.
We have lost our compassion for the lost. We just accept them like they are. They're not going to change.
Yes, they will.
They've been this way for so long. They're not going to change. We need a revival of the fear of God.
That's right.
There's no fear anymore. As I related, if you watch your newscast, what's taking place the first 15 minutes of the newscast? Somebody killed somebody, somebody done this, somebody taken back in their history years and years and downgrading them, and the government's in such a bad shape because of all the ungodliness that's going on in that, and it's just rampaging. We must pray without ceasing. It's understood that we cannot physically be praying every single minute of every day. But you know why the church is not moving like it needs to? Why? We are falling off, children. Church attendance is falling off. We only have 20% mega churches in the world. The rest, 80%, is less than 100 or less.
That's true.
Tells me something. The church is in need of prayer and prevailing prayer. The prayer level of the church determines on your prayer.
Right.
Not the pastor, not the leaders, but every individual is required. We need to fear God. No fear anymore of God. Acts 5, 1 through 11, and I'm not going to read all of it. I'm just going to read the first 3 verses of Acts, the 5th chapter. But it said, a certain man named Ananias with Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession and kept back part of the price. His wife also, being private to it, and brought a certain part and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, being directed by God, Ananias, why has Satan filled thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost and to keep back part of the price of the act? Readily, Ananias Peter saw what Ananias had done. Now, it looked like it was all right for him to do that. But if you go back to the 4th chapter of Acts, the 36th and the 37th verse, you will find that Barnabas sold his land and he gave all of it to God. And here comes Ananias and Sapphira, and they took part of it and gave it. Why did they want to do that? Because they saw Barnabas get the favor of God for giving a part of, or giving it all, and they thought they were doing the same thing, but they kept that part of it. And Peter said, "Why are you lying to me? You don't give part of yourself to God.
That's right. Amen.
You don't give half of it to God. You give your whole heart to God." We need to fear God that much.
That's right.
And when we see our people, these people in our building, begin to fear God and give our whole self and not taking part out. I think Brother Bobby did a marvelous job preaching on tithe. It's required 10% of our income.
Amen. Amen.
That's a requirement of God. If you give it 5%, you're cheating God. We must give that God, He required that. Barnabas wasn't required to give a portion of it. He gave every bit. And Ananias and Sapphira saw the glory that Barnabas got, and they rebelled against it. Thought they was going to get praise for it because they took out part of it. God saw that.
Yes, He does.
He sees your heart.
Amen.
He sees your life. We need a revival of conviction.
Amen.
Not merely men who hold opinions, but men who are held by God-given conviction.
Amen.
That's a problem. We got too many opinions. You don't believe it? Turn your TV on and see all what's going on in and around the world today. This one's got his opinion, that's got his opinion, that's got his, and neither one of them's right.
That's right.
We need a revival of spiritual worship. The place of worship is not so important, but the way it's done is so very important. John 4:23 said, "But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Amen. For the Father seeks such a worship Him." Hebrews 10:25 said, "Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much as you see the day approaching."
Amen. This approach. Amen.
You cannot sit and tell me that you can't see the approaching of the second Son of God.
Amen.
Luke in 25 and 21 gives a long list of things that's coming to pass. And it's been fulfilled right now to the T.
Yes, it is.
Not one word that he speaks in 21 and 25 is not being fulfilled right now. What are we doing about it? Our churches, we don't even have enough ministers now to fill our churches. Ministers of my age and the other ages are having to bow out. Preachers such as Bobby, Brother Bobby, and other young ones are experiencing the struggle and the terror of unconcernedness.
It's true.
We need a revival of brotherly love. When you touch God, You touch love.
Amen.
For God is love. 1 John 4:16 said, and we have known and believed the love that God had to us. God is love. And he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. You can't dwell in God and hate your brother.
That's right. Amen.
When you touch somebody, what do they feel? 1 John 3:22 said, and this is his commandment, that we should believe on the name of the Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another as he gave us commandment. 1 John 4:20 said, if a man says, I love God, and hateth his brother, he's a liar.
That's right. Preach it.
For he that loveth not his brother, whom he has seen, how can he love God, whom he has not
That's
seen?
right. That's right. Preach it.
We have people say, I won't go to that church because of such and such. Then when they get here, that person, I wish they had to come. I just don't feel good around them. Where's the love of God?
That's right. Amen.
1 John 4:7-8 says, beloved, let us love one another. For love is God, and everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not God, for God is love. We need a glory restoring revival. I wish you'd go home and read the whole chapter of 1 Samuel 4:21. You have to read the whole chapter to find out what's taking place in the 21st verse. It said, and she named the child Ichabod, saying, the glory is departed from Israel, because the ark of the God was taken, and because her father-in-law and her husband. And she said, the glory is departed from Israel, for the ark of God is taken. We need a real revival of joy.
Amen.
Not gracious vapors of the world, but the real joy of the Lord. Nehemiah 8:10 said, then he said unto them, go your way, eat the fat, and drink the sweet, and send portion to them for whom nothing is prepared. For this day is holy unto our Lord. Neither be sorry, for the joy of the Lord is our strength.
Amen.
We need a restoring revival. From your religious feast, your bodies will acquire strength, and your mind power and favor, so that you shall be able to do his will, and to do it cheerfully.
Amen.
God is real. God has said everything we need to know in his word. Read it. Find it. Seek it. Tell others. Acts 25:15 said, for these are not drunken, seeing it is but the third hour of the day. Sometime back, a minister said, I stay drunk about half the time. But he wasn't talking about booze. He's talking about the Spirit of the Lord. How many of you have been drunken over the Spirit?
Amen.
He was here this morning
Amen.
in a special way.
Yes.
I'm going to take that home with me, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Amen.
I want him to consume me. I want him to have his... I've apologized to my wife so many times in the last year. I guess she gets tired of me apologizing, but experience with the Lord I'd never had before. Pastored for 38 years. Speaking to people. Listening to people. I gave my whole self to my pastoring. But I had to go and ask her to forgive me for some of the things that I had said and some of the things I'd done. It almost made her second in my life. But He has blessed me. He has touched me in a way that I've not been touched in my whole... Me trying to pastor for so many years, but not until now do I feel like I'm in God's will. I had to play. I had to do what they thought, what they told me I was supposed to be doing, not what I needed to be doing. A.J. Thomason said, you don't know him, he's the leader and founder of our church. He said, made this statement, get so drunk on the Spirit until you will feel you are rich.
Yes, right.
Even if you do not know where you will lay your head or get the next piece of bread. Literally, abandon yourself to God and lay down upon the promises it reads.
Amen.
They that preach the gospel should live of the gospel. At times you seem to be pinched, then preach with more fire than ever and watch the results. We need to get so drunk in the Spirit that everything is secondhand.
That's right. Amen.
In conclusion, give us a revival with Holy Ghost having His blessed way. I remember the night that this old boy, I was called to be a minister in the Westland Methodist Church at a very early age of 18. But I walked away from it. Went out, did all kind of stuff. But then one day, God spoke to me again. And I gave my heart and life to God. In one service, I got saved, sanctified, and filled with the baptism of the Holy Ghost, with speaking in tongues. I'm not ashamed of it.
No, amen.
I was half-hearted when I got the baptism of the Holy Ghost. I got the best thing I ever had in my life.
Amen.
He began to lead me and guide me until I accepted my calling of ministry. And I pastored for 38 years. 38 good years. Give us a revival like it above. Preaching the Word. For it isn't His will that any should perish, but that all should be brought to repentance. We need a revival. Not so much in a church service. We need revival in our homes. We need revivals in our workplaces. We need revival in schools.
Amen.
We need revival where people are convicted of the way they're living. They need to give their heart and life to God. We got family members that needs to be saved.
Amen.
We got children that needs to be taught. We're in a devastating time, children. Look around you. Look at what's happening in schools. Look what's happening in this world today. All the ungodly, the